The camera rotates around a girl.
Wait a minute!
Isn't that Violet from a series of unfortunate events but hotter? And her name is Baby Doll.
What kind of name is that?
One rainy evening, the doctor declares death of her mother. This loss turned into a real tragedy for her younger sister and her. Much better. Look at that smirk on his face. Given her age, it is possible that it was him who had a hand in her death. It quickly becomes clear that he is after the children's massive inheritance. He was furious, judging from his violent reaction to the contents in the will. The stepdad gets drunk and goes to Baby Doll's room to sing her a lullaby before she goes to sleep. Baby Doll doesn't like his voice and runs to her room to stop him from entering. The stepdad doesn't read the poster on the door clearly stating no trespassing, and she instantly fights back.
Oh, say like...
He unbuttons her shirt and she goes Catwoman on him. Then the younger sister becomes the target. The way he fixes his tie suggests he has got other plans. Baby Doll, Rapunzel, descend from her room. She holds her stepdad at gunpoint. She shots but misses.
I switched it!
She shoots again, hitting his arm, but unfortunately, the bullet hits her sister. I guess she is not the quiet kid at school. The shoot was lethal, and this tragic accident gives the stepdad a reason to put Baby Doll in an asylum. She is institutionalized by her widowed stepfather at the Lennox House for the mentally insane after she is blamed for the death of her younger sister. The stepfather bribes Blue Jones, one of the asylum's orderlies, into forging the signature of the asylum's psychiatrist, Dr. Vera Gorski, to have Baby Doll lobotomized so she cannot inform the authorities of the true circumstances leading to her sister's death. The doctor performing it arrives in 5 days. That's how much time is given to heroine to escape.
My name is Michael Schofield.
Here in the clinic, Baby Doll, for the first time, she makes eye contact with Sweet Pea, who's sitting on the stage and listening to the instructions of Dr. Gorski. A montage of 5 days are shown to the viewer until the very moment of the operation, and it seems like it will be performed right now. She is about to get an eye piercing, but the scene abruptly shifts to a fantasy world in which she is newly arrived in a brothel owned by Blue, whom she envisions as a mobster. The stepfather is dressed as a priest. Blue informs Baby Doll that her virginity will be sold to a client known as the High Roller, but I suspect the priest has done a little flower picking. Sweet Pea goes to the trio and from the looks of it doesn't like Baby Doll. She asks her sister Rocket to give her a tour of the brothel to the new girl. Before leaving, Baby Doll makes sure to bless the priest. Now that's a good girl, but she messed up his makeup, annoying him as a result. Rocket and Baby Doll bond over their complicated life.
Did you become an orphan?
She assures her she will get used to it. Rocket shows her the rooms where the magic happens. And just for you, we have a 35% discount. You can thank me by subscribing. She explains how Blue is pimping this mentally disturbed girls. She shows her the kitchen and storage room, which is where they are grounded. For some reason, the brothel has a ballet practice room. She is introduced to her coworkers.
You are my colleague.
Amber and Blondie, who isn't actually blonde. She explains that they need practice their routines cause there is a rival warehouse across the street. Baby Doll has one of her weekly meltdowns. If prostituting wasn't enough, she's cleaned the floor like fucking little orphan Annie. This is typically how sex-trafficked people are treated. Chef Cousteau here is having a sandwich. Rocket takes a small block of chocolate to give to her dog. Cousteau catches her red-handed. He tries to force himself on her and tickle her. The sounds of her laughter reaches Baby Doll. She straight up takes a knife and holds Cousteau at knife point. She takes Rocket away from there, after which the scene is shot on Dr. Gorski, which calls Baby Doll to perform an erotic dance. She's very hesitant in the beginning. Dr. Gorski tells her the first rule of being a stripper.
Grow testicles. Vodka.
She plays the music again. Get ready now, here is the most exciting part of this movie. We don't get to see erotic dance, but legend says this is where twerking originated.
She's dancing like a strip.
Baby Doll fantasizes she is in feudal Japan in schoolgirl outfit. Baby Doll forgets to take off her shoes before entering the temple.
No shoes in the house!
The wise man presents Baby Doll with a gun, clips,
They're mags, not clips.
and a katana. Is that an anal bead? He tells her that she needs 4 items to escape: a map, fire, a knife, and a key. Other than the named items, there is also a 5th unrevealed item that only she can find, which would require a deep sacrifice and bring a perfect victory. In front of her, we see 3 samurai giants. Samurai Pinocchio kicks Baby Doll like a ball. She gets kicked back a little and Pinocchio uses his naginata
What the fuck you just called me?
to flung her around. You didn't just pause it, you perv. She manages cutes off its nose, knees, and decapitating it. Samurai Machine Gun Kelly, like the name suggests, shots everywhere. She manages to dodge every bullet. She throws and misses again. I guess history does repeat itself. She runs towards Machine Gun Kelly and shots him in the eyeball. That was actually an MM verse. The samurai falls to its death. She faces the last samurai, who is the most dangerous of the three, Samurai Scarecrow. He charges at her with his huge katana. When in the hell to get these Neo powers? She manages to kill him with one blow to the heart. I hope you are not too interested in this mind-blowing dance Baby Doll performs, because we never fucking see it. In the present time, Baby Doll wakes up from her daydream. Everyone is clapping and admiring her dance moves. Blue is mesmerized despite his first impression of her. At night, we see Baby Doll convening with the 4 girls with whom she plans to escape before the high roller comes. Rocket and Amber wanton. Blonde, unlike her name, makes a valid point that the last 3 who tried died in the process. Sweet Pea is like no one has ever escaped from here, and for those reasons I am out. The next day, Rocket and Sweet Pea talk about you know what. Rocket tells Sweet Pea that Baby Doll saved her from the cook. Baby Doll enters the room is like, here are all the things we will need to escape. I'll write them really big right here in the public room, which she wrote on a blackboard that she
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
flipped over to conceal. They discuss about their whereabouts and beholders. Sweet Pea asks how she intends to get the items. Baby Doll intends to use her dance to hypnotize the item holders and make them think with the little guy. Sweet Pea heads to Blue to inform him that Baby Doll is dancing. He heads to the reversal room so see her striptease, which we don't get to see. Sweet Pea sneaks into his office to make a copy of the map of the brothel. Why not have a tattoo of the place on her back? Meanwhile, Baby Doll closes her eyes and we are teleported to Fantasy World. Is that airship shaped like a dick? Charlie from Charlie's Angels informs that their mission is infiltrating a bunker protected by World War I German soldiers to gain a map. He also tells them that the Nazi soldiers are mechanical zombies. There is a lot of firing and this 5 overpower those 1,000 soldiers. Amber here is all about Pacific Rim. Amber chases and shots the planes. Rocket struggles to fight back and is surrounded by enemy forces. Her sister comes to her rescue. The steam pump leads them to the main bunker. Red Skull is in position of the map. Baby Doll gets into the bunker, but the rest are left outside. She manages to kill all the steampunks. Red Skull throws Baby Doll to the beam, which causes the structure to collapse. One officer escapes with the map and boards the dick airship. Baby Doll fires at him several times, but somehow even while missing him she still misses the giant balloon airship. She then uses a machine gun to take it down. The officer shoots at her, but she deflects the bullets. She takes the map from him, but Red Skull wants it back. She proceeds to throw the map to fucking space. Genichum Pacific Rim here arrives just at the perfect moment. They all fly away and Baby Doll manages to catch the map. Meanwhile, on the dance floor, people applaud. Blue suggests that Baby Doll should do a private show for the mayor to get some funds. Dr. Gorski insists, saying she isn't ready. Blue reminds her who is the boss around here, and she complies. He goes to his office and notices that his photocopy machine is hot, which means someone has been messing around. He also finds that his map has been misplaced. Surely something must have happened here. Now it was the night the private show was going to happen. It was turn of fire, that is, they had to get the lighter out of the mayor's pocket. Amber is tasked to get the lighter, which the mayor keeps in breast pocket. The mayor enters the brothel, where Blue warmly kisses him.
Man, you gotta say no homo when you say shit like that.
He lights his Cuban cigar as Amber accompanies him. Dr. Gorski apologizes in advance for the raw nature of the performance, but the mayor says he is a professional raw dogger. We then see the group in The Lord of the Rings. Charlie tells them to kill the orcs along their way, who happen to look like modern rappers. Their mission is storming an orc-infested castle to retrieve 2 fire-producing crystals from the throat of a baby dragon. He strictly reminds them to not wake the mother. Sweet Pea, Rocket, and Baby Doll descend and do the superhero pose.
Such a poser.
They head to the small dragon. At first, the dragon overpowers Baby Doll. Eventually, she gets a hold of it and cuts its throat. She takes out 2 big stones from its neck. As soon as she strucks them together, they produce the most magnificent fire you'll ever see. They wake up the mother dragon.
We fucked up.
The dragon goes mama bear on them. She rains fires on them. Realizing her baby is dead, she goes after the group. The dragon gets on the top of the castle acting like King Kong. The planes catches the attention of the dragon and they play cat and mouse. Amber tries to throw her off the scent, but it doesn't work. It bites the tail of the plane, nearly killing Blondie. Catching sight of Baby Doll, she charges at her. The dragon is stuck between the door,
Bro, I'm stuck.
but still blows fire. Baby Doll jumps up in the air to prevent the fire. She stabs the dragon in the head. I guess you could call that a head scratcher. The music stops and at the same time Baby Doll's eyes open. As always, everyone is very happy. The mayor is so mesmerized that he doesn't know where his lighter is. The lighter is in the hands of Amber. The group can't contain their excitement. Baby doll arrives and tapes the lighter under the dresser. They celebrate knowing they are halfway with their plan. In the middle of their celebration, Blue barges in. He's seen something fishy. He threatens everyone having known about the disappearances of the lighter and the map. He grabs Blondie by the hair and warns them to stop what they are doing. Sweet Pea tells them they won't go further with the plan. According to her, Blue is close to figuring things out. Her sister is all like,
Never back down, never what?
This causes a division among the group. Back in the rehearsal room, Blondie sobs while gathering the tapes. She sits down in one place feeling dejected. Dr. Gorski's voice reaches and sheaths what the matter is. Blondie wanted to tell her the whole plan. When she is doing so, Blue reaches there. He couldn't hear what the plan was though. The next item on the list is a knife from the hands of the chef. Baby Doll and Rocket discuss their issues at hand. Baby Doll is about to abandon the operation. Sweet Pea had a second thought and is back on the mission. They quickly close the gates and play a song on the radio. Baby Doll puts on another performance. In the fantasy world, the four girls are tasked in fighting robotic guards on board a train to disarm a bomb mirrored by Sweet Pea stealing a kitchen knife from the cook's belt. The group arrives at the train station by helicopter, piloted by Amber. She fires a rocket to blast open the door of the train that carries the bomb. They encounter many robots guarding the train, but they fight them off with skill and courage. Baby Doll leads the team with her sword and gun, while Sweet Pea provides backup and shields her sister Rocket from harm. They reach the bomb and disarm it quickly, then attach ropes to it so they can lift it with the helicopter. But a robot that was not destroyed gets up and grabs Rocket, throwing her to the other end of the train. It presses a button that reactivates the bomb, and the mission is over. Baby Doll suddenly wakes up in the real world, where she is in the kitchen with the cook. He has been hypnotized by her dance, but he snaps out of it when he sees Sweet Pea taking a knife from him. He realizes what the girls are planning and gets angry. He tries to stab Rocket, who jumps in front of her sister to save her. Baby Doll goes back to the fantasy world, where she sees Sweet Pea and Rocket trapped on the train. Rocket's jetpack is damaged, so she gives hers to Sweet Pea and pushes her off the train. She stays behind, knowing she will die. The train explodes, and in the real world, Rocket is stabbed by the cook and dies in her sister's arms as she tries to protect her sister. Blue enters the kitchen and sees the mess and the dead body of Rocket, who is valuable for his business. Sweet Pea is grieving for her sister and behaving erratically until Blue orders his guard to lock her in the closet. Later that night, High Roller, a man who bought Baby Doll, arrives at the brothel for his entertainment. Before the show, Blue goes to the dressing room and confronts the girls about their conduct in the previous days. Dr. Gorski tries to intervene, but he pushes her aside. He exposes Blondie as the snitch who told him about their plan. Blondie regrets her betrayal and apologizes, but Blue does not listen. He flips the blackboard that shows their plan and fatally shoots Amber. Then he shoots Blondie as well, calling her a snitch. Dr. Gorski is escorted out by Blue's guards, still saddened by the girls' deaths. When the room is empty, Blue attempts to rape Baby Doll. He pins her to the dresser, but she resists. She grabs the kitchen knife and stabs him in the neck. She takes his master key and tells him he will never have her. She frees Sweet Pea from the closet and tells her they are the only ones left. They start a fire to distract the orderlies and look for an exit. They follow the map and use the key to open the gates. The fire alarms unlock the gates, but a throng of men block their way in the courtyard. Baby Doll deduces that the fifth item she needs is actually her own sacrifice, and that this is actually Sweet Pea's story. She tells Sweet Pea to go without her and distracts the men long enough to allow Sweet Pea to slip away. She faces the men and one of them knocks her out. The fantasy world ends. Back in the asylum, the surgeon has just performed Baby Doll's lobotomy. Dr. Gorski notes that during her short stay, the girl stabbed an orderly, started a fire, and helped another girl escape the asylum. The surgeon is shocked by Baby Doll's look after the lobotomy and asks Dr. Gorski why she authorized the procedure. Dr. Gorski sees that Blue forged her signature as Baby Doll is taken out of the room. Baby Doll is brought to a room where Blue waits for her and tries to rape her again. The police arrive and arrest him before he can harm her. They take him away. As he is being arrested, Blue also incriminates the stepfather. Baby Doll is shown smiling serenely. Sweet Pea is stopped by police at a bus station. The bus driver, who is the wise man, helps her by lying to the police and letting her on the bus. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more movie recaps. And don't forget to leave a comment below and tell us what you think of Sucker Punch. Did it blow your mind or make you want to punch someone? Let us know. See you next time.